Hey beautiful people, welcome to Urban Insight. I'm Nelly, and today you guys, we're going to go over the latest lawsuit, and I'm going to give you a complete breakdown of the latest lawsuit that a Jane Doe, who was 17 at the time, filed against Sean Combs, Harve, Pierre, and a third assailant who was not named in the documents, but there was a third assailant. And also Daddy's House Recordings, which was Diddy's studio that he had at his house at the time, and Bad Boy Entertainment. So on November 16th, 2023, Cassandra Ventura, aka Cassie, filed a 35-page lawsuit in which she exposed Sean Combs for subjecting her to nearly a decade of physical, actual, and emotional abuse punctuated by rape and traffic, and being forced to engage in drug-fueled, non-consensual sexual encounters with other men. Ordinarily, when a lawsuit such as Ms. Ventura's is filed that involves events that took place long ago, witnesses are few and far between and evidence hard to muster. Not so for the claims brought against Mr. Combs. Within minutes of the filing, salient facts of Ms. Ventura's claims were confirmed by various witnesses, included a rival musician whose car Mr. Combs blew up, as well as various individuals who observed Mr. Combs beat Ms. Ventura. Only a few days later, two other lawsuits were filed against Mr. Combs, and one plaintiff, Joy Dickerson Neal, alleged that Mr. Combs drugged and sexually assaulted her when she was a college student. The other lawsuit accused Mr. Combs, there's a lot of mistakes in this lawsuit, I see, but it accused Mr. Combs and singer Aaron Hall of forcing the plaintiff and another unidentified woman into non-consensual sex. At the same time, a fourth lawsuit was filed, this one against Mr. Combs' companies and defendants Harve Pierre, the longtime president of Bad Boy Entertainment Holdings, Inc., Bad Boy. The suit alleged that Mr. Pierre used his position of power at Bad Boy to groom and assault his former assistant, and that Bad Boy looked the other way at the time. This is now the fifth lawsuit filed against Mr. Combs in the last 3 weeks. Incredibly, the allegations brought by Ms. Doe are in many ways even more egregious than those brought by his prior victims. Specifically in 2003, when she was only 17 years old and in 11th grade, Ms. Doe was trafficked and gang raped by Mr. Combs, Mr. Pierre, and a third assailant. When she was just a teenager, Ms. Doe met Mr. Pierre and the third assailant in a lounge in the Detroit, Michigan area. While at the lounge, Mr. Pierre insisted that he was best friends with Mr. Combs and even called Mr. Combs with Ms. Doe. So, I know you guys are wondering, what is a 17-year-old doing in a lounge, in a club? What is a 17-year-old doing around grown men and not at home where a typical 17-year-old should be? And, some people, they grow up in certain predicaments, situations, and whatnot, and I'm not necessarily justifying anything, but, maybe she was just a 17-year-old that parents wasn't around or whatnot. Mr. Combs convinced Ms. Doe, who was half his age at the time, to accompany Mr. Pierre and the third assailant on a private jet to come to his studio in New York City. Before they left for the private jet, Mr. Pierre smoked crack cocaine in a bathroom at the lounge, in which he had also assaulted Ms. Doe by forcing her to give him oral. The third assailant is a anonymous person. He was not revealed during discovery. So Mr. Pierre, the third assailant, and another gentleman then escorted the high schooler to a private jet, which flew them to Teterboro, New Jersey. There were SUVs awaiting the group at Teterboro. And the four of them were driven to Daddy's house recording studio, which is also another studio that Diddy has, but this studio happens to be in his house. A studio famously owned and operated by Mr. Combs and Bad Boy. While at the studio, Mr. Combs and his associates, including Mr. Pierre, plied Miss Doe with drugs and alcohol. As the night wore on, the 17-year-old Miss Doe became more and more inebriated, eventually to the point that she could not possibly have consented to having with anyone, much less someone twice her age. While at the studio, Miss Doe was gang raped by Mr. Combs, the third assailant, and Mr. Pierre in that order. While Mr. Combs was graping Miss Doe, he complained that he could not get off unless she pinched his nipples as hard as she could. Mr. Combs then watched on the third assailant, who Miss Doe had not even realized had begun to have with her. He also raped Miss Doe, as she told him to stop. After the third assailant was finished, Mr. Pierre took his turn at graping Miss Doe and then violently forced her to give him oral, during which Miss Doe was choking and struggling to breathe. When Mr. Doe finished, he left Miss Doe in the bathroom alone. Miss Doe fell into the fetal position and lay on the floor. Her vagina was in pain. Wow. So like I told you guys, this was very, trigger warning. And it's just a lot of details in this that is just sad. Like, it's just sad. And I'm sorry that this had to happen to Jane Doe and that she had to endure such a harsh ordeal. Finally, after a period of time, Miss Doe regained her bearings. However, she could barely stand up following the gang rape and had to be helped to walk out of the building and back into a car. She was taken back to an airport and flown back to Michigan. However, she has very limited recollection of her transport home and only remembers being in her car sometime early in the morning. So, you guys, Jane Doe has also provided pictures in which she has proof of being in Diddy's studio, which was Daddy's studio. Unlike many victims who have come forward after decades, Miss Doe can prove that she not only met Mr. Combs on the night in question, but that she was literally in that studio, which was in New York City, with him that night. She's sitting on his lap. You can see that clearly. And it says that Ms. Doe has lived with her memories of this fateful night for 20 years, during which time she has suffered extreme emotional distress that has impacted nearly every aspect of her life. So, you guys, they have blurred her face and everything out in the pictures because she was a minor. And wow, that's all I can say is that, what's next? Like, what is next? There's just so much stuff keep coming out about Diddy. And, as a mother, a parent, someone, who strongly looked up and I guess idolized these professional musicians, it's just sad that, they get into the position that they're in and they just take advantage of their position, and again, I'm sorry that the 17-year-old, she was a minor at the time, she had to endure the things that she did. She probably was starstruck, to be honest with you. A lot of people are, I'm sure, asking and wondering to themselves, like, what is this 17-year-old doing out? Like, why was she, around grown men? Why did she leave and go to another state, not knowing these people? But again, she probably was starstruck. You're on the phone with Diddy and you just, I don't know, maybe she was starstruck and she didn't believe it, and she probably had talent or whatnot, and she just didn't think this was something that would have happened to her. This isn't something that anybody would have thought would have happened to them, meeting someone they looked up to. So again, let me know in the comments, you guys, what do you think? How do you feel about the new information and all the information that's coming out about Diddy And what are your thoughts? Please like, comment, and also if you're not a subscriber, please make sure that you subscribe. We're going to stay on top of everything that's going on with Diddy, and not just for this victim that just came forward. I am so sorry for all the victims. You know, as women, this is not something that is okay and that we should have to deal with at all. And I guess Cassie coming out and speaking her truth, it just opened up doors for other people who also have possibly endured the same treatment from Diddy to come out and speak their truth as well. So you guys, just, you know, let me know what it is that you think, how you feel about this case, and then all the new information that continuously comes out. We're going to do our best to stay on top of everything, and I just hope everyone have a great day. Again, it's just sad. The whole thing is sad, and again, I want to just stay on top of it, and I will keep you guys updated. Please let me know what you think down below. Let me know your thoughts on the entire situation. What do you think? How do you feel? Let me know down below. How do you feel? Please comment, like, and make sure that if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. I want to stay up on top of all the latest news, so make sure that you have subscribed. Make sure you like this video. That way this video is able to get out there to more people. And we're going to just keep coming with more news for you guys. Have a blessed day.